I absolutely love beating the St. Louis Cardinals.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go now for free in the App Store or Google Play. And the Detroit Tigers won the series finale on Wednesday afternoon against the St. Louis Cardinals by a score of 4-1. We have an off day today, assuming you're listening to this on Thursday. So tomorrow's episode, we'll have an off day show. We'll preview the weekend and the series ahead as well. Just kind of look at May as a whole. Talk about kind of where our feet are currently as well. But for now, we have a series win, the fourth consecutive series victory to discuss. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Like I said, an 18-13 record heading into the off day. I just love beating the Cardinals, man. I despise that franchise. I really do. And I have a lot of friends who are Cardinals fans, weirdly. And you know, love all my friends to death, but my goodness, I cannot stand that franchise. Ruiner of my childhood. It's just man, on my Kendrick, vibe right now. Just everything about him. I cannot stand the Cardinals. And I actually do a list every year. Maybe one day, I don't know, we get rained out 8 days in a row again. We'll have nothing to talk about. We can talk about it. At the beginning and end of every season, I've been doing this for about 8 years now. In my notes section on my phone, I rank all 30 teams in order of how much I like them. Straight up. Before opening day and then after game or after the World Series every year. I update it twice a year, and the Cardinals have not moved from 30. I don't think ever. I despise this franchise, so I love series victories against the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's talk about what went right in this ball game. We're starting on the mound, as we usually do with this ball club. Kenta Maeda, that's back-to-back really good starts, and that's why he didn't get DFA'd 2 starts into his major league career, which was always a wild take. And the Tigers signed him to a 2-year deal anyway, so that was never going to happen. But 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 5 strikeouts. Obviously, the 1 earned run was an absolute monster shot to dead center by Contreras, man. That was an absolute bomb to dead center. But he's been really, really sharp in his last 2 outings. As I said, that's 1 total run given up in his last 2 outings combined. The velocity looks like it's quote unquote back and not going to be a problem. I know that saying his velocity's back when he's topping out at like 92 and averaging 90, or I think he averaged about 91, just a hair under 91 in this one. Is kind of funny in today's modern day and age of baseball, but he's a vet. Like, he's been doing this for a while. He's been throwing 90 to 92 and been a pretty good pitcher, a solid middle of the rotation arm for a long time. And as we talked about, he's been bad in April pretty much his entire career. He even joked about it in the post media availability, right? In the locker room after the game, through his translator, was making jokes about how, April's over, like, kind of thing. You know what I mean? They had a laugh about it. And yeah, in this outing, I thought he looked pretty sharp. The fastball might only be 91 miles an hour, but it was effective. It was a really effective pitch in this outing. The splitter is obviously going to be his bread and butter and was really solid in this one. And the slider, I thought, looked really good. I thought the command of the slider specifically was honestly fantastic. I'm going to be real. I don't expect him to go 6 full innings or beyond too terribly often this year. I expect him to be kind of a 5 to 6 innings pitched type of guy. He's just has never been a super efficient pitcher necessarily, at least not in his later years here. But so anytime we can get 6 innings from him, period, right, where he's good enough to last that long and efficient enough to last that long, I'm gonna gladly take it. So I 2 thumbs up for him. Great job. I've been saying 2 thumbs up a lot lately. Somebody pointed that out. That's true. I don't know where that really came from, but he's been really solid lately. And yeah, credit where credit is due. Hopefully, the rough April is just that, and it's just a tradition for him to just struggle a little bit in April, and then he'll move on and be really solid kind of the rest of the way and be that middle of the rotation, back end of the rotation arm that we signed him to be. Also want to talk about Joey Wentz. We have not given Joey Wentz the flowers that I think he probably deserves. And now we're officially 1 month into the season, right? We're in the month of May, obviously. He went 1 inning, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. The command left him the last couple of batters of the outing for sure. But on the season now, Joey Wentz has a 0.79 ERA. His changeup has been legit. And I don't just mean like, oh, like, you know, it's early season returns, whatever. His changeup has legitimately been a monster of a pitch, and it's a really effective swing and miss pitch. It's been getting a lot of strikes. It has been uber effective. The fastball hasn't been terrible, which is really like all we were ever asking for. It's never going to be a giant plus pitch, but it hasn't been brutal, and he's been good. Shocker, right? When you don't have the worst pitch in baseball as your pitch you throw the most, you do a lot better. So I also think that AJ Hinch's usage of him is very important when having this conversation. He's never going to be like the high leverage lefty reliever on this team, especially now with how well Andrew Chafin's been pitching this year, but just in general, right? He's like 3rd on the pecking order of lefties. He's more of a kind of that multi-inning kind of swing guy. But in this outing, he was in a relatively close game, right? This was a save situation in the 9th inning. This was a 3-run ball game. And he took the mound and was a 1-inning reliever and was really good and got out of it with a clean inning. You'll look at his baseball savant page for all you stat nerds out there. It's a whole lot of dark red. It really is. He's been really good. And this is why, you know, so many people going into the season were like, why are we prioritizing him? He doesn't have any options. This is stupid. Like, we're prioritizing him just because of that. Like, this is why, right? And he's not going to have a sub-1 ERA. That's not what I'm saying. He's not going to be the best lefty reliever in baseball. Probably going to end, you know, his ERA will go up at one point. I'm sure he'll run into a rough patch at some point. Everybody will freak out again. But like, this is the opportunity we were trying to see. The organization was trying to see if he would become a solid option, especially as a lefty, out of the bullpen. And so far, 1 month in, he has done that. So credit where credit is due. Just wanted to truly give him his flowers because I feel like I've kind of skimmed over that probably a little bit too much. So let's keep the ball rolling. Got a few more things to talk about. A lot, honestly, on the side of things that went right in this ball game. We will do all of that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Also got to tell y'all today about our friends over at Monopoly Go. All right, time out really quickly. We got to talk about Monopoly Go. And I know what you're thinking. We already talked about that at the beginning of the show. But there's so much good stuff in the game. We got to talk about it again. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with your friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, you get awesome prizes as well to unlock. You can get stickers that you can trade with friends and complete albums for even bigger prizes. There's cool new playing pieces and new boards as well. There's hilarious emojis for taunting friends and smashing their buildings and heisting their vaults. So plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting all the time because they're constantly changing with tournaments and challenges, etc. There's so much fun. You can dig for treasure. There's just so much cool stuff in the game now. So there's always new timed events that help you win big, massive multipliers, everything you could win, rent frenzies, you name it, they have it. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go, so get off the bench and go download it today for free in Google Play or the App Store. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2 of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will be back tomorrow with an off day episode. We're going to preview the weekend, preview really May as a whole, just kind of talk about where we're at right now within the season as well. Okay, some other updates, news, and notes from the organization. Obviously, also be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today for free. 24/7 streaming on the you can subscribe on the YouTube Locked On Sports Today or for free in the Amazon Fire TV channels app. Okay, so we are talking about things that went right in this ball game, and thankfully there is plenty to choose from. This was a really solid ball game, I think, top to bottom. I almost said top to finish, but we've talked a lot about defense. I thought there was some pretty good defense in this ball game. Colt Keith made a couple of really nice plays. Specifically, this was just a clean. You had the upper hand the entire game. You never let the other team really even think for a moment that they were going to come back in it. Just a really solid, even though it wasn't a blowout, it was kind of a low stress, just solid victory. And those are always really, really nice. So there's not a ton that went wrong in this one, but still a few things that went right. Alex Lang, absolutely fantastic yet again. 1 1/3 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. A huge final out in the 8th inning. Then he gets to stay out there and go pitch more than an inning. But our closer didn't. Yesterday, 2 days ago, as you're listening to this, I guess, he looks really sharp, though. Alex Lang looks really, really sharp. He has a 0.75 ERA on the season. Another guy whose savant page is a lot of red right now. His whiff rate is astronomically high, one of the highest in all of baseball. The walk numbers on the year are still really high, absolutely, but they've gone down a lot the last 2.5 weeks. They've gone down a boatload. And yeah, so really just in general, the last 2 weeks have been incredible. He's thrown strikes when he's needed to. He's never going to be a fill the zone, just constantly type of guy. But at the end of the day, if when your back is against the wall and you have to throw a strike, you can. He can be really successful with how good his stuff is. On the offensive side of the ball, Matt Vierling, have a day. Matty V, 2 for 3 with a home run. Big day at the office. Just a crazy hanger from Michaelis in that home run. Just absolute hanging breaking ball. And yeah, Vierling's been crushing the ball this year. He hasn't been walking very much at all. That's something that I want to see him improve on throughout the season. And really, not only this year, but his entire Tigers tenure, he has been brutal with runners in scoring position, just not a clutch hitter whatsoever. So those two things are things that I want to continue to see him improve on if possible. But you can tell he has made mechanical adjustments, right? Like his load is different. The hands are in a slightly different spot. And the reason for that is we talked about it a ton on this show over the winter, was trying to pull the ball more. And he has done that so far this season. Now, on 2 strike counts or situations where, he's just trying to put the ball in play, then he won't be afraid to let the ball get a little bit deeper and kind of slap it the other way. Bally talks a lot about that. The broadcast, SEMO especially, talks a lot about that for sure. But, I think credit where credit is due. Like a lot of his results have come from pulling the ball hard, which is something, again, we've been talking about in this show for like a year. And to see him make those adjustments and put it to use, I guess, is the phrase I'm looking for. It has been nice to see so far. He's hitting over 280, really solid OPS in the mid 700s there. He's been really solid this season, I think. And yeah, again, still a couple of things want to see him improve on, obviously, but this was a fantastic day at the office for Matt Vierling. Colt Keith with a beautiful RBI double. And he went 1 for 4, and that was it. But I thought that at-bat was really good. He should have walked, honestly, like twice over. I think he should have walked. That one pitch, especially the strike 2 call, was brutal. Not even close to a strike. but made him pay and got a changeup over the heart of the plate, pulled it, which is good to see him pulling the baseball, even if it is on an 84-mile-an-hour changeup. But I don't care. Any results that he gets at this point, I think is a good sign, and it's just nice to see him, crush the ball and not have it find a glove for the first time in a while. So yeah, really good at bat, patient at bat, good approach, I thought. And again, he went 1-for-4. It's not like he exploded or anything, but just seeing him really give a ball a ride to the pull side and hit a runner home as well. I'm hoping that can be kind of a confidence booster and a sign of things to come, maybe going forward. All right, let's talk about what went wrong in this ball game. I'll be honest, not a lot. The biggest thing that frustrated me in this ball game was really just the clutch hitting yet again, which is something we've talked about on this show for what feels like ever, my entire tenure here. They went 0-for-5 with runners in scoring position, left 4 runners on base. And the one thing that we've always talked about with clutch hitting is if you're not going to hit with runners in scoring position, you need to have power. You need to be able to get extra base hits, hit the ball over the fence. And that's what they did. The one thing that can trump poor clutch hitting is power. And Matt Vierling homered, and Colt Keith hit a ball into the gap that scored a runner from first. So they went 0-for-5 with RISP, and they still were able to put up 4 runs and get a win. I'll take it. I'm not going to, scream and get red in the face mad over it just because they were able to overcome it. And I'm certainly not going to be mad at 4 runs on the board with how this offense has looked, honestly, most of the year. But yeah, that is still something that we're going to continue to keep an eye on, and is probably going to continue to frustrate me. That's really it and that's not, they scored 4 runs. It wasn't like some perfect ball game, but like everybody got in on the action offensively, like pretty nearly, I think 7 of the 9 hitters got on base at one point. Like this was a really just solid team win, to be honest. There wasn't a ton that went wrong. This was just a really solid ball game. So credit where credit is due, man. This was good. Let's talk stuff. Okay, we got a lot of stuff to go over in this ball game. Still getting some suggestions on the stuff name, but I'm going to be honest, there is a pocket of the listenership that really just likes the name Stuff as well. So going back and forth, we're still shopping some things, but yeah, we'll see the future of the Stuff segment and what it holds. For now, though, it's still just everyone's favorite segment. Jason Foley, the decision to me to not have him pitch the 9th inning in game 1 makes even less sense when you don't go to him in a save situation on Wednesday. Now, look, maybe if it was a 1-run ball game and it was super high leverage, then maybe that's different, and maybe they do go to Foley there. But they go to Lang. He had 4 outs. He pitched more 1+ innings. It's just like he's going to get Thursday off. That's an off day. He's getting Wednesday off, even in a save situation. I think it honestly, it frustrates me even more now that he didn't pitch the 9th inning, knowing that Foley wasn't going to get in the game in a save situation anyway. So wanted to point that out. Not a big fan of that. Not that I needed Foley to pitch. Like he better pitch on Wednesday. No, like if you're trying to save his arm, save his arm. Obviously that's the top priority, but just rubs me the wrong way with how the decision in game 1 on Wednesday went now looking back on it. Torkelson goes 1-for-4. And would you look at that? His single in this ball game was on a first pitch. Absolutely. Would you look at that? Wow. Truly mind-boggling stuff. I do want to point out as well that he is now down to number 6 in the lineup. And I don't expect him to go back up until he hits a hot streak. I really think that he's probably down in that 5, 6, 7 range until he proves that he's not. I don't think this is just like a temp. We're going to move him around all over the lineup until he gets going. I think he's going to stay at the bottom until he gets a hot streak here. But we are now in May, and this dude still has not hit a home run on the season, and he's really just not kind of lifting or hitting the ball hard really much at all. So, yeah, frustrating start to the season for him, obviously. But wanted to point those 2 things out in regards to him. Colt Keith, we talked about the defense a little bit. I think the defense as a whole from the team was pretty solid. Matt Vierling, a couple of nice plays as well. I also just want to point out, man, like the Cardinals, I don't want to get, too big for my britches here, but the Cardinals like did not look good to me. Their two best players don't look like there's, and I say this, which is like ridiculous because Paul Goldschmidt was like 4 for 4 going into his 5th plate appearance in game 2, but like him and Arenado just don't look 100%. They don't look right. Goldschmidt's had a really rough year as well. Their pitching is awful. I mean, like it's Sonny Gray and who knows? I mean, it's a really rough rotation at the present moment. They just don't look very good. And I think that this was a series that if the Tigers didn't win it, I would have been really frustrated because I don't think this baseball team is very good. That might be my bias. That might be me being a hater, as I've made it very well known. I don't like the Cardinals whatsoever. But I was not impressed by much of anything from what I saw from that team. And I'm really glad that the Tigers walked out of there with a win. Look, at the end of the day, you good teams beat teams that they're better than. And I'm not saying the Tigers are guaranteed a good team, but taking care of business matters, right? Taking care of business and just doing what you're supposed to do and not messing around and just walking out of there with a series victory. I'm going to gladly take it against what I believe is an inferior opponent. Okay. Let's talk a few more things here. Going to preview the future series, not full preview. We'll do that on tomorrow's show. But just kind of talk about the road trip that is ahead, and then we're going to talk about Bally as well. Unfortunate situation with Xfinity. We'll talk about all of that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Prize Picks. Look, spring training is a thing of the past, as we all know. We are now over a month into the season, so do not miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, you can take your pick of more or less and add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Get in on all the playoff action as well. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a whole new level during basketball's postseason. A lot of fun basketball being played right now. I'll tell you what, I'm an old soul at heart. I hope the Eastern Conference, we get a Pacers-Knicks series. Just that just screams 90s ball to me, and I would absolutely love it. But a lot of really good series going around, and there's a lot of fun action to get in on Prize Picks, more or less on certain players, point totals, rebound totals, fantasy points, you name it. It's really, really fun. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, Locked On MLB, first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all for tuning in, as always. So we are talking about this series. I think that's pretty much all I got, to be honest. Again, this was a kind of low stress, low event. Just you had the upper hand, start to finish. And the bullpen has been disgusting all year, as we're well aware. Was really, really, really effective. Will Vest pitched in this one. Kind of got into a little bit of trouble, but at the end of the day was fine. I was really impressed with how this team played in this ball game, to be completely honest with you. So nicely done, gentlemen. Let's talk a little bit about this Bally Sports Xfinity situation. I'm going to start off by saying I don't have answers. I don't know. I've been asked by a lot of people, where can I watch? What does the future hold? I don't know. I have zero idea. That is way, way above, my pay grade and my like area of expertise. I truly have no idea, but it's absolutely ridiculous to me. This is now, thousands, tens of thousands of people that are completely just screwed out of watching the Tigers for the foreseeable future. I hope they get a deal done, I guess. Like, I don't even know really how this works. Like, I don't know. I've heard that Bally has, gone bankrupt like 87 times over the last 2 years, and like they're still here and being awful. So and that's obviously not a representation of the on-air talent. I want to make that abundantly clear. I know a lot of the in front of the camera, Bally personalities that we know are fantastic, and the producers, I'm sure they all do a great job, but it's just the the product of the ability to stream, right? The Bally app and the channel and whatnot have just been so brutal ever since Bally took over for Fox, and it has just been an absolute train wreck. I don't know what the future holds. How to watch? I guess I don't know. I guess you have to get a Bally subscription. I don't have the answers. Again, this is awful and stupid. Like, this is so unbelievably dumb to me. I don't know. I'm really not sure what else. I feel like I've said I don't know a million times because I don't. I'm hoping soon. This is my hope, and we'll end on this, that we get a team subscription from Major League Baseball, just straight from the source. The Arizona Diamondbacks did this. They're the first team in baseball to do this. You can just, you have your MLB TV subscription that, me and so many other, I'm sure plenty of you all watching have, right? Where you get every single game through MLB TV. And the Diamondbacks, you can get D-backs TV. And it's obviously not as expensive as MLB TV. And you just get every single Diamondbacks game, no blackouts. And I think that that's probably where we're headed. But I don't know what happens in the meantime. So yeah, I'm really sorry to all of the people that are directly affected by this, and I think it's absolutely absurd that Bally, because that's now Xfinity, YouTube TV, like that. It's like a lot of very prevalent, cable packages and streaming services that just don't offer it now because they just can't get deals done with them. It's a joke. It really is a joke. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything. You're 18-13 heading into the weekend, heading into this off day, 4 straight series victories. We'll talk about this. We'll, truly preview it on tomorrow's episode. But the road trip that you're about to go on is going to teach us a lot. It's going to tell us some things. Okay. You have the Yankees in New York. The Yankees are playing really good ball. They are 19-12 on the season. Juan Soto is a superstar, and that's 19-12 without Aaron Judge tearing the cover off the ball so far this season either. So you've got a solid Yankees team on the road. Then you have Cleveland in Cleveland, right? So that's your next 6 games. It's a 6-game road trip against 2 teams that have been 2 of the best teams in the American League. The Cleveland's winning your division is currently 19-10 at the time of this recording. And like I said, the Yankees are 19-12. So a really important big road trip. You can't just go in there and just get smacked. You got to at least keep your head above water, play 500 or better ball over those next 6 games and come back home with your well above 500 record still intact. But that's your 5 games over 500. That's awesome. It's the beginning of May. We made it through April and we're 5 games over 500. I'm hoping that some of these bats can heat up. As we talk about a lot, it's is the glass half empty or half full? But I'll gladly take 18-13, baby. I'll gladly take that. I think that's pretty much everything. How about the beekeeper throwing out the first pitch at the Diamondbacks game? How can you just not absolutely love baseball? Like, how can anyone think that any other game, is the greatest game on the planet? They had a bee delay. They were playing I Need a Hero on the big speakers as the beekeeper was, sucking the bees away. And then they got the dude to go out and throw the first pitch. How can you not be romantic about baseball? Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will be back tomorrow. Again, talking a lot about kind of where the team is, looking ahead a lot more in depth at May, previewing the weekend, and more. All right. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.